The sun rose slow on a broken town. Factories closed, machines shut down. Promises made, but none were kept. Dreams turned to dust while the people wept. 90 days of fleeting chance, a lifeline lost in a reckless dance. The clock ran out, now it's too late. Unemployment's the cruelest fate. The tariffs came, they hit like a storm. Families braced to keep their homes warm. A pause was given, a moment to act, but the time was wasted, that's a hard fact. 90 days of fleeting chance, a lifeline lost in a reckless dance. The clock ran out, now it's too late. Unemployment's the cruelest fate. Leaders spoke with words so grand, but their hollow deeds we can't withstand. The people begged, the people cried. Now hope's a stranger on this side. Misery's knocking, poverty's near, a future clouded by doubt and fear. If only they'd fought to make things right, we wouldn't be lost in this endless night. Sunsets and skies so blue, mountains whisper stories of dreams so true. From oceans roaring wild to valleys deep, a heartbeat of a nation that will not sleep. Save South Africa, rise above the storm. Hands together strong, a new world is born. Beauty in our hearts, let it light the way. Evil cannot reign when we seize the day. The people sing louder than shadows can scream. Together we're stronger than the wicked scheme. The soil holds our history, roots run so long. A melody of freedom, we're singing strong. They may curse the land with lies they weave, but we hold the truth in what we believe. Their crowns may crumble, their thrones may fall, for the power is the people's above it all. Save South Africa, rise above the storm. Hands together strong, a new world is born. Beauty in our hearts, let it light the way. Evil cannot reign when we seize the day. People sing louder than shadows can scream. Together we're stronger than the wicked scheme. The people sing louder then shadows can scream. Together we're stronger than the wicked scheme. The people sing louder than the shadows can scream. Together we're stronger than the wicked scheme. The soil holds our history, roots run so long. A melody of freedom, we're singing strong. They may curse the land with lies, they weave their weave, but we hold the truth in what we believe. Their crowns may crumble, their thrones may fall, for the power is the people above it all. We know it all.
Marvin Divine. I'm saying bye to all the lies and all the times you cried, saying that I wasn't right, yet I was right by your side. You manipulator, playing games, your friends commentators, and I don't know what you say about our private conversations, but it's got them hating. Thanks to all the rumors you be claiming. It's cool, I'm done with you, so they can throw you a celebration. You gon' hate it when you see me with somebody living better. I'm trying to tell you that me just doing me gon' have you jealous.
Hello folks, welcome back. It's Sunday, July 6, 2025. I'm live in central Pennsylvania for your weekend Sunday edition, your dose of reality, not propaganda or leftist spewing nonsense. Welcome back to the program, ladies and gentlemen. Oh boy, these floods in Texas are pretty tragic. Horrible stories there. Some stories of heroism emerging as well. Alts, Erica, Firefox, Vilma Erasmus, Kai, Sean, Candice, Andre Mostart, Vilma Erasmus, Phoenix, Lynette Taylor, Amanda Lowe, Pan, Julie, Martin Williams Bernard, I believe you're in right, okay, Mandy van Rooyen, Conrad Gedenhuis, Peter John Vust, Julie, I think I said Estelle Edwards, welcome to you, Janine Scenes, Peter Wick, what else we got there? Pete Sten, Ingrid's Inspirations is back, hello to you, Yassine. Sometimes I miss folks here. Gerrit Unger, Werner Durant, Ryan Kanye, Andre Abelgren, Willy Liebenberg, Stinkmaster, Marike Bezidenhout, Not a Happy Camper, all before we started. Damien Vitamin, since we started. Don Visser, Otto George Buzzingwaith. Wow, that's a mouthful, my friend. Happy Mac, welcome to you. Pat Newman, Hank, Caitlin. Mark Myberg's back. Hey, Mark, how's it going? Where's Patreon? Okay, Maddie. Charmaine, Jean, Marinda, David Wilson, The Vessels, Julie, Andre Mostart, already said Andre. Andre from Royan, Edward Kaba, Johan Bernard, Diana Thompson, welcome to you. Alan Balladay, Peter Vos, Peter Save, Varoshka's back. 787 Dreamliner has joined us. Who else we got here? Xavier Grayling is back, Ghost Phantom, Liz Groenewoud, Samantha Funneck, Ludwig, Anton Mulder, Flying Dutchman. Boy, a lot of folks here. Rihanna Uman. Wendy's back. Gemini. Hello. Tom Smith. Who else? Vikas Hatna. Welcome to you. Julie. Be safe. Kratos. Rodney Teat. Momo. Shireen. Hey, Doc, what's going on? Alan Gill. And Diane. Okay. Yanni Boshoff. Maze is back. Rudolph Skepper's Anonymous is so well hidden there, almost missed. Mad Max is back with us. Lindy, Seidoff Arcana, Leon Justa, Richard Kuhn, Marinda, Matisse Streden, Dion Ferry, Skulk Oltkus, Karen Groenewald, Explicit. I'd like to hear what you thought about Neil DeBeer. I didn't really see anything in the interview. I watched it. I didn't catch all of it, but I didn't see anything. All the CNN journalists trying their best to blame Trump for Texas flooding. Yeah, they're blaming him because the Weather Service failed. But apparently they did give warnings. So anyway, this is what happens when you live in a floodplain, or you keep putting camp in a floodplain. Not a wise move. So, okay, welcome, folks. 671 people currently here, but just 270 likes. Oh, I'm feeling a little bit underappreciated. I'm feeling underappreciated.
That was easy.
Where's the love? Chris Ehlers is here. Hi, Chris. I missed you. Super D, Zombie. Joe Czar. Presidential Medal of Freedom. Well, that's very kind of you. Thank you. Stephen Orkia, hello. And people jumping in now. I'm not going to catch everybody. Let's get to some of the news here, folks. We'll start on this Sunday. Still room for engagement. Parks Tao and academics in South Africa misleading the South African public, trying to deceive you into thinking that there is a chance that South Africa is actually doing something about the pending trade debacle that's coming your way. Well, in fact, they're doing little to nothing, ladies and gentlemen, little to nothing. By the way, this is disturbing me. I need to make this fit a little bit better. There we go. It's driving me nuts that it's not quite even there. So there we go. And now it's behind my head. Yes, Parks Tao and academics in South Africa, according to the Daily Maverick, trying to say that there's still room for negotiation. Ladies and gentlemen, today is the 6th of July. Tomorrow's the 7th. That means Wednesday, the letters will be out to every country. So either South Africa's already received its letter, or it's in the process of receiving its letter probably tomorrow or Tuesday from the U.S. government. There will be no reprieve. South Africa's made no genuine effort whatsoever, not a single effort to do anything. They claim that they tried to negotiate. Well, they went to the U.S. Africa Business Summit in Angola and sent low-level delegates. Meanwhile, we're going to talk about this story for just a moment here. I'm going to get into it. So, do I sound angry? No. Do I sound irritated? No. For those who seem to think that my broadcasts are all about anger and irritation, no. Just telling it like it is, folks. And if that's something you don't like, well, I really can't help people. Vain Small, thank you for subscribing. Frey Mensel's back. So, still room for engagement. Whistling past the cemetery goes Parks Tao. South Africa's been pushing to negotiate a trade deal with the U.S. in order to prevent U.S. Donald Trump sweeping tariffs. I'm sorry. Could somebody please explain to me how South Africa is pushing? Pushing implies that there's an effort to make it happen, that they're doing something to get across the line. What exactly has South Africa done to get across the line? Is there an ambassador in Washington? No. Is there a special representative in Washington? No. Is there a trade representative in Washington? No. Is there a trade delegation in Washington? No. When is the first time South Africa approached the United States about trade? Oh, the Oval Office debacle, when Cyril Ramaphosa lied to President Trump, when the South African delegation embarrassed themselves with Mcebisi Nchavini sitting there smirking and laughing while Kill the Boer was playing in the background, and all the American senior political figures were standing there watching her being an ass. Yeah, that's when they talked about trade, and then they went behind closed doors. And now, according to the Freedom Front Plus, we're hearing that behind closed doors, they present a list of demands, which I previously said were non-negotiables. So, when exactly? Oh, they went to the U.S. Africa Business Summit, and they sent a deputy minister instead of Parks Tao. What was Parks Tao doing that was so important he couldn't go to Angola when 14 heads of state from Africa went to that event? 14 heads of state from Africa went to the U.S. Africa Business Summit in Luanda, but not South Africa's head of state or its deputy president or anybody of note. They sent a deputy minister with no authority. Meanwhile, this is what the other deputy minister did. That's not what I'm looking for. This is from Durko. This is what their deputy minister did. South Africa pays homage to Ayatollah and signs Iran's condolence book, insulting the United States and perpetrating its anti-Semitic Jew hatred and America hatred. This is what the South African government does. Sends its deputy foreign minister to sign a condolence book for a terror state, a state sponsor of terror. That's what they do. That's what they do. They don't, while 27 Israeli civilians died in Iran's attacks, military and scientists and nuclear sites were destroyed, air defense, by Israel. And no civilians were killed by the United States on its attacks. But they go and sign that condolence book. Talk about cognitive dissonance. Talk about insulting the United States. Talk about nonsense. These people are gaslighting you. Parks Tao and these professors from universities are gaslighting you. And you have to ask the question, are they that stupid, or are they just paid operatives? Maybe it's a combination of the two. Maybe they're just that stupid. It begs the question, folks. Minister for Trade and Industry says U.S. has signaled that there is still room for engagement. How? How and when? They signal there's room for engagement. Well, your letter's about to arrive. We'll see how much engagement you get then. Trump imposed a 30% tariff, 31, on South Africa in April as part of a global reciprocal tariffs before agreeing to suspend their application for 90 days, saying he would hammer out bilateral deals. That 90-day pause ends on July 9th. South Africa and other countries around the globe have been pushing to negotiate trade deals with the U.S. in order to prevent Trump sweeping tariffs. How? Asking for an extension, begging for an extension a week before it expires, after ignoring 2 months and 3 weeks, you finally come to the game and go, okay, please, sir, can we have an extension? That's not pushing for a deal. That's begging for an extension after you've ignored almost 3 months of negotiating time. Yeah. In this regard, we are of the view South Africa may need to resubmit its framework deal in accordance with a new template. It's thus expected that the deadline may be shifted, said Tan on Tuesday, July 1st. No. Parks Towel, excuse me, not Tan. Parks Towel. No, deadline's not going to be shifted because you're late to the game. You asses don't get it. Cyril Ramaphosa made Donald Trump wait 30 minutes for a meeting at the Oval Office. Where's the media talking about that? Why has that never been discussed? Why has South Africa's corrupt media never called out Cyril Ramaphosa for making the President of the United States wait 30 minutes? My goodness, if Donald Trump showed up 30 minutes late, he'd be called a racist by South Africa's media. No doubt about it. But where's Cyril Ramaphosa? But lumbering up out of his limo 30 minutes late to a meeting with Donald Trump. No one ever talks about that. Wow. According to Parks Towel, Deputy Minister of Trade Zuko Godlimpi, can't make these names up, and the U.S. Assistant Trade Representative for Africa, Connie Hamilton, met on the sidelines in Luanda. So they sent a deputy minister to meet on the sidelines, no formal meeting with the United States whatsoever. So they're having coffee. Hey, listen, Ms. Hamilton, could we have a conversation? Let's go to the snack bar. So we know we don't have an ambassador. We know we don't have a special envoy. We know we don't have a trade representative in Washington or a delegation. And we haven't even approached you to talk about this other than Cyril's magnificent meeting in the Oval Office. But I was wondering, can we have an extension? I know it expires next week, but could we have an extension? I mean, it's a good faith request. I mean, we're here to ask you. Connie, can we have an extension? Please. According to Tal, Godlimpi had a very good engagement with Connie Hamilton, where there was an indication that there's still room for engagement. see, this is twice now in a week that South Africa's idiotic members of its government are inexperienced and don't know diplomacy. These morons, these neophytes, these fools know nothing about diplomacy. So last week, Ronnie Lamola fraudulently claimed the United States had apologized for not attending the Sherpa conference in Sun City. The United States, as a matter of diplomatic protocol, sent a letter explaining why they wouldn't be present. Ronnie Lamola made the stupid mistake of going on air and saying, well, the United States sent a letter saying they won't come. We accept that as an apology. Excuse me? All you do is insult the United States with your lie. So that's last week. And this guy's the director of the foreign ministry. He runs the foreign ministry. This week, we have U.S. officials in Luanda being polite, diplomatic, and saying, yes, there's room for engagement. There's always room for engagement. And they take that and turn it into, well, we're getting an extension. No, you're not. South Africa initially submitted a proposed framework deal to the U.S. on May 20th, the day before Ramaphosa and Trump met in the White House. It included deals in agriculture, critical minerals, automotives, and exports. The framework deal addresses U.S. concerns relating to, among others, non-tariff barriers, trade deficit, and commercial relations. By the way, May 20th. The tariffs were imposed on April 3rd. May 3rd, 1 month, 10th, 17th, over 6 weeks later before they even engaged. 6 weeks before South Africa even engaged with the United States over these tariffs. And they did it one time. Yeah. So, what's at stake? Things I've been telling you have been at stake for months. I've been telling you this for ages. More than 600 U.S. firms are operating in South Africa. They could be barred from operating there. That's not going to happen, but it could be done. Trade between the two countries totaled over $20.5 billion, a massive trade surplus and a huge benefication in the economic process for South Africa, unlike the stuff you ship to China. Yep. And Africa Growth and Opportunity Act. But they're still talking about that. South Africa's benefited immensely from Africa Growth and Opportunity Act, which has enabled it to export a large range of products and goods to the U.S. market duty-free. But Trump's new tariff regime would upend the country's long-standing arrangement under AGOA. I'm sorry, Patricia. Or was it Patricia? What's her name? O'Regan. I'm sorry. Victoria O'Regan. Oh, Victoria O'Regan, I'm sorry. You don't understand AGOA. AGOA is gone. Gone on 30 September. It doesn't exist anymore. So Trump's deals have nothing to do with AGOA. You need to get that out of your head. You people really need to learn how to do research. Trump's tariffs have nothing to do with AGOA. They can override AGOA, but AGOA is gone on 30 September, regardless of what happens. We are now into July in a Congress that's about to go in recess, that just passed a budget for the first time in donkey years. We are not focused on AGOA. Bob Wekesa, director of Wits University African Center for the Study of the United States, said he believes South Africa has tried its best to reach a bilateral agreement with the U.S. How? How, Bob? How did South Africa try to reach its best agreement? How? I'm curious. Do you know something the rest of us don't know? Was there a secret clandestine meeting that took place between Lutnick, Scott Bessent, Donald Trump, J.D. Vance, and the South African delegation that we don't know about outside the 2021 May timeframe? Not that I'm aware of. Not that I'm aware of. I don't think we should dismiss the efforts of government of national unity. I think they've done their best. Done their best? Is this the best government of national unity? No wonder your streets are falling apart. No wonder you have poverty. No wonder criminals have no deterrence to their activity. The taxi gangs, the construction mafia, the rape gangs, the gender-based violence morons, the farm attackers. No wonder the country's falling apart. If this is the best they can do on a trade deal, there's no bullets flying. All it does is take your ample bum, get on a plane, fly to Washington, D.C., go to your embassy after you've already coordinated a request to meet with U.S. officials and sit down with them and offer them something of interest. But there's nothing to be gained here. This is all smoke and mirrors, because if what the Freedom Front Plus told us is true, which I believe to be the case, although I haven't interviewed them yet, if it's true, then none of this matters, because nothing will change unless South Africa changes. So this is all nonsense. They are just trying to delay the inevitable. And then when it all comes to fruition and the jobs disappear overnight, and the Chinese don't buy your cars, and they don't buy more of your wine, and they don't buy more of your macadamia nuts, although they want that. They want to corner the market there. I know a little something on the inside of that. When all that happens, ladies and gentlemen, they'll blame Donald Trump. They'll blame Donald Trump for their failure. Yes. The tricky part is that Trump has refined the art of raising the bar, raising so many issues that you come kneeling before him, you come with the negotiations on the back foot. Well, if South Africa didn't have a racist government, an abusive government, it wouldn't be in this situation. But quite frankly, it could have got away with being a racist government with 145 racist laws, with being abusive towards its minorities. It could have got away with that. But it acted against the interests of the United States for far too long. For 25 years, the South African government has acted against the interests of the United States. Time and time again. And I've made mention of this, and it hurts people's feelings. I'm sorry. Hit the road, Jack. If you don't like it, you don't like hearing the facts. It doesn't stop the inevitable. The inevitable here is a rupture. And South Africans are going to pay the price for the arrogance of the African National Congress and its insults. So the professor from Wits, I don't know what he's drinking. He said that while countries like UK and Vietnam have reached trade deals, South Africa is bound to struggle because it's being targeted on other fronts, which are political and diplomatic. No. South Africa is not targeted. No. South Africa attacked the United States, insulted the United States, lied to the United States, and then paid a price. That's not targeting. That's a response. It was a defensive response by the United States, suspending aid to an ungrateful partner who lies about America and undermines their national interest. It should have been obvious to everyone when South Africa refused to condemn Russia's invasion of Ukraine that the end was coming. It just took a real president to be in office to make it happen. It would mean that South African goods and services are impacted almost a cessation of trade, particularly in critical areas like agricultural products, in areas of manufacturing, particularly motor vehicles. Yep, that's exactly right. He said it'd be a big hit for South Africa's economy. They'll have to immediate impact on the budgets and resources the government can use for service delivery. Yep. This, of course, will be on top of the cessation of funding that was coming through USAID. He also noted South Africa is not the only country that has certain critical minerals like platinum and hydroxide. Yes, that's right. We don't need South Africa, which is what Gwede Mantashe thinks. Yep, next week, Trump will be hosting 5 African leaders, and guess who's not there? South Africa. This coming week, Trump will be hosting 5 African leaders at the White House, and who's not there? South Africa. No one from South Africa going to be there again. Well, a national mourning period has been established for the passing of former Deputy President David Mabuza. Flag will be flown at half-mast from Monday morning. During this period, the national flag must be flown at half-mast until Saturday evening at all flag stations around the country. The President wishes the family strength and the nation as they reflect on the life of a family member, activist, educator, intellectual, and leader in government who contributed greatly to the attainment of freedom and development in our society. Did he really? I didn't realize that. Combat ready. KZN top cop, Lieutenant General Makanazi, his name has Nazi right in the end of it, Nazi, makes damning allegations against Police Minister Senzo Mkuno. Well, that's not good. The gloves are off. In an explosive press conference on Sunday, KZN's top cop said he was combat ready and willing to die for police badge, making serious allegations against Police Minister Senzo Mkuno and Deputy National Commissioner Lieutenant General Shadrach Sabia. Wow. What's going on here? He's also defending Fanny Masemola. He said Mkuno organized a private between himself, Sabi, and Mwanaza when they attempted to clear the bad blood between them. We are in combat mode. I'm taking on the criminals directly. I'm a police officer who understood the task in hand when I joined the service. I chose the combating side of policing. I understand that this present moment, the war we are facing deals with high-level senior officers. Wow. I can confirm to South African State that the investigation these members were involved in Gauteng has unmasked the syndicate. It involves politicians who are currently serving in Parliament. Oh, my goodness. My goodness. Wow. He accused Mkuno of misleading Parliament regarding his relationship with Brown Mokotsi. Wow. Man, oh man. SAPS is falling apart here, folks. The corruption is being exposed. He accuses the minister of interference, political interference in investigations. In a briefing today, he accused the Minister of Political Interference Investigations of leaving an ulterior motive in disbanding South African Police Service's Political Killings Task Team, a unit that was based in KZN. 121 dockets on investigation were taken away from the task team as directed by Deputy National Commissioner of Crime Detention, Shadrach Sabia. There's something bad going on in the SAPS. Cape Town cold front and the flooding, and Gift of the Givers is on the scene. Living like this is, gosh. Gift of Givers said they're being swamped with calls from communities across the Cape Metro area due to the heavy impact of cold front resulting in floods and rain that has impacted thousands of people. City of Cape Town's Disaster Management Center has also been busy tending to several informal settlements over the weekend. On Saturday, they were assisting in Mfuleni, Guguletu, and Kailicha. They added that the Vigriskal Canal burst its banks. Things are not looking good. Quit building your shacks on land that's not suitable for human habitation. Stop squatting. Go back to where you came from, the Eastern Cape or Free State or wherever it is you came from, and live there where you weren't in a flood zone. Stupid things being done. Three men gunned down in a shack in Cape Town. Another mass shooting in South Africa. A daily occurrence now. Police are investigating a case of murder after 3 men were gunned down in a COVID informal settlement. COVID informal settlement? You have COVID settlements in 2025? What the heck is that all about? Police are asking the public to come forth with any information. More mass shootings in South Africa. America First just described. Thank you for that. Limpopo hip-hop artist has been jailed, sentenced to 3 life terms for repeatedly raping a 9-year-old boy. Good Lord. Samuel Boomfire Mbuyane was sentenced to 3 life terms for repeatedly raping a 9-year-old boy. He manipulated the victim, leaving the boy with severe psychological trauma. Limpopo-based hip-hop artist Samuel Boomfire Mbuyane was sentenced to 3 life terms. That means he'll be out in 7 years. The 42-year-old was found guilty of rape, committed between 6 and 8 November 2020. It took 5 years to convict him. Also declared unfit to possess a firearm. You think? He bound the boy to a chair, raped him, and issued death threats if he disclosed the abuse. The boy, forced by fear, complied and was raped on 2 more occasions. Prosecutor presented irrefutable evidence, including testimony from the now 14-year-old victim and his mother, medical reports confirming the assaults. Wow. Sick people. Sick people. Well, a beer pioneer, a new beer pioneer, a black South African lady is starting a craft brewery. And she's got a craft brewery, and she's trying to encourage other black women to join her in this effort to take on the male establishment. A beer pioneer, South Africa's first black female brewery owner, trains a new generation. After pouring brown, gritty liquid from a huge silver tank into a flute-like container known as a refractometer, South African beer brewing master Afiwe Sane Mahwalela gives an expert nod of approval and passes it around to our students who yell their observations with glee. When you are brewing, you must constantly check your mixture. Sane Mahwela instructs them. We are looking for a balance between sugar and the grains. The 41-year-old is an international beer judge and taster and is believed to be the first black woman in South Africa to own a craft brewery, a breakthrough in a world largely dominated by men and big corporations. Her desire is to open the South African multi-billion-dollar beer brewing industry to more black people and more women. And even the Washington Times doesn't know that black is an adjective, not a noun. Students at the Brewster's Academy of Chemical Engineering, Biotechnical, and Analytical Chemistry degrees or diplomas and are eager to get themselves extra qualifications for a possible career in brewing. My favorite part is the mashing, said Lorato Banda, a 30-year-old chemical engineering student at the University of South Africa who has dreams of working her own beer. Why are 30-year-olds in university? Why are 30-year-olds in university? I'm serious. There may be reasons. Maybe she had to delay her studies, but at 30, you should be in the workforce. 18 to 22, undergraduate. 22 to 24, postgraduate. 30, workforce. Why are people in university at the age of 30 instead of contributing to society? I think it's a fair question. Could be a non-traditional student. That might explain why. Well, folks, be part of history as an effort to set the braai record is underway. Yes, South Africa's braai record attempt for World Hunger Day. An attempt to break, and they call it Mzansi's original. Well, geez, why not South Africa? An attempt to break the world record for the most number of people braaiing simultaneously be held on Heritage Day in a bid to provide 1 million meals on World Hunger Day next year. At least 2,500 people are expected to braai at Loftus Versfeld, according to the organizers, Big Save Grocery and Liquor. Company's head of marketing, Dylan Jardim, on Friday said the idea for the attempt came 3 years ago when he wanted to do something huge, crazy, and exciting, but did not know what it could be. Okay. Eventually, he stumbled on a record for the most people barbecuing simultaneously at one venue, which he found interesting. Japan's Ishigaki City holds the Guinness World Record for the most people grilling or barbecuing simultaneously with 2,220 after achieving that feat in November of 2023. So now they're going to use Heritage Day to set the braaiing record next year. Well, this year. Congratulations. Well, Rassie Erasmus is not happy, ladies and gentlemen. Rassie is not happy with the performance of the Springboks on the pitch. And he's not alone. They were turgid at times. And I have to take exception to one analyst who said that Morne van den Berg was okay. He was brilliant. And it wasn't because he scored 2 tries. His ball movement, his quick ball, his kicks were absolutely fantastic. And he was all over, and his tackles were amazing. I'm tired of these analysts who have some sort of grudge against Morne van den Berg. I don't know if it's because he's white. I don't know if it's because he's short, or maybe he's got a wide nose. I don't know what the issue is, but Morne van den Berg keeps getting disrespected by South African rugby analysts, and I've had my fair share of it. The guy's amazing. Get over yourself. The 2 best scrum halves right now, in my view, are Morne van den Berg and Grant Williams. Yeah. Faf de Klerk and Hendrikse and Kobus Ryan. Well, Kobus is close. Going to take a second seat to those 2 guys. Very poor performance by the Springboks. And Rassie's correct to be upset. The lineouts were atrocious. The scrums were dominant. But they had too many knock-ons, too many errors, and some poor flow. Plus, they played against an Italian team that was greatly understrength, as many of its main players weren't even there, getting a rest. And a young team, very young team, and they almost came back and won this game. There was no 2 ways about it. Rassie Erasmus was a disappointed Springbok coach after his team sputtered to a 42-24 victory of an understrength Italy team at Loftus. It was a very frustrating game. They left some big names at home. They had youngsters who had nothing to lose, and they imposed themselves on us. They manned up in the scrums, the mauling, the defense, and attack. It was a proper test match, and we were exposed in several areas. Yep. There were a few new guys on this side, so there were no excuses. Yes, I would rather have this poor performance at the stage of the season, but it doesn't make it any more acceptable. Yep. The lineups were not good, but there was more a case of individuals making mistakes than a system problem. We as coaches must accept the blame. Well, somebody's got to accept the blame because this will not beat top flight teams. History is made. Can you imagine this, folks? There has not been a Springbok store in South Africa. If you go to Manchester, there's a Manchester United store. It's incredible. If you go to Bayern München, they've got an incredible store for Bayern München. Most of these teams have it. They're not even national sides, but the national side doesn't have a store. The storied Springbok franchise doesn't have a store. So Gate McKenzie announces the arrival of the Springbok store. Looks to me more like a Nike store, but we'll see. History made. His first Springbok store opens its doors. A new chapter in South African rugby history written on Friday when the first ever Springbok store opened at 9 a.m. in Sandton. The groundbreaking development was inaugurated at a special ceremony featuring Gate McKenzie and Sole Malatse, Minister of Communications and Digital Technologies, planned to be followed by further store openings elsewhere in the country. Before today, if you asked the question, where's the Springbok shop, you'd been met with blank faces. Famous sports teams around the world have club shops. Whether you're in the Champs-Élysées in Paris, you can visit Paris Saint-Germain Club. Yep. If you're passing through Munich Airport, you can visit the Bayern München Club store. Yep. If you're in the old Telford area of Manchester, you can visit United's. Yep. Well, I just mentioned those, but not a Springbok store. But here's the store, and it looks like it's all Nike. That's what it's an advertisement for Nike. Springbok store, official Nike. There you go. Look at that. Nike ads. Don't really care for that. So you can buy your expensive Springbox kit right there. There's Brian Habana hanging out with some chica. And here you go. These are old school jerseys there, obviously. Victor Matfield. Free shipping if you spend 1,500 Rand. There you go. Turning our attention, folks, to Hezbollah. They say that they won't disarm until Israel leaves southern Lebanon. Well, good luck with that, because the moment Israel leaves southern Lebanon, they'll move in there and they won't disarm. Naim Qassam says the group will not surrender or lay down weapons in response to Israeli threats, despite pressure on the group to disarm them. Well, they're terrorists, so we're not going to trust them. We cannot soften our stance or lay down arms while Israeli aggression continues, he told thousands of supporters in Beirut's southern suburbs. Well, the problem with that is that you're a terrorist, and the reason Israel's in Lebanon is because of you. So disband, and then they'll go away. Brazil is hosting a BRICS summit. Russia's Putin, China's Xi, skipping the trip. Wow, so much for that exciting BRICS event. The two of them are not there. Wow. Leaders of the growing BRICS group are gathering in Brazil for a summit overshadowed by United States Trump's new tariff policies while presenting a bloc as a defender of multilateralism. Okay, first off, BRICS isn't real. It's not real. There's no agreement. There's no treaty. There's no mutual defense. There's no abrogation of tariffs or freedom of movement or trade between the group. None. It's an acronym of disgruntled, bum-hurt, not American countries that are angry because they suck and they're looking to join together, including South Africa. The group. BRICS nations voiced their serious concerns over Trump's tariffs. Of course, because the free ride is over. Trump is not letting you put in quotas and limits and tariffs on our goods. Now we're going to show you. BRICS leaders meeting in Rio de Janeiro today are expected to decry President Trump's indiscriminate trade tariffs, saying they are illegal and risk hurting the global economy. Well, they're not illegal because there's no sovereign power that rules over the United States. We are a sovereign nation, and they're not illegal. If they run contrary to the global agreement on trade tariffs or the World Trade Organization rules, that's where you make your argument. Doesn't make them illegal, just makes them wrong. So, well, there you go. We'll see how much power BRICS has. None. No power whatsoever. The Dalai Lama is a nonagenarian turning 90, celebrating his 90th birthday, and his secession is something of great concern for the illegally occupied Tibetan homeland. The Chinese communists have stolen Tibet and remain colonizers in Tibet. Where is the ANC? The ANC when it comes to the colonization of Tibet. The illegal occupation of Tibet by a colonizer, an evil colonizer who's oppressed and imprisoned its citizens. Where is the ANC? The African National Congress, which is a friend of the downtrodden, the oppressed, except when the oppressed are the victims of your friends, the oppressors, the Chinese or the Russians. Where is the ANC? The Dalai Lama's homeland is illegally occupied by a communist power that overran their country, a peaceful neighbor, and imprisoned their leaders, and destroyed their political system, and chased their religious leader out of the country. A person you've twice denied a visa to come to South Africa. Twice denied the Dalai Lama a chance to come to South Africa because the Chinese communists didn't want him there. Desmond Tutu's birthday? Denied. World Racism Conference? Denied entry into South Africa. I'm sorry, ANC. Hypocrisy is thy name. Hypocrisy is thy name. But the Dalai Lama, meantime, turns 90. The Dalai Lama, spiritual leader of the Tibetan Buddhists, has turned 90 to cap a week of celebrations by followers, which riled China again and spoke of his hope to live beyond 130, reincarnate after dying. That photograph, that sure looks like Richard Gere in the blue shirt there, doesn't it? I don't know who that is, but it looks a lot like Richard Gere. Dressed in his traditional yellow and burgundy robe, the Dalai Lama arrived at the Buddhist temple complex to smiles and claps from thousands of monks and followers who had gathered in a rainy Sunday morning in the North Indian town of Dharamshala, where he lives. As far as I'm concerned, I have a human life, and as humans, it's quite natural for us to love and help one another. I live my life in the service of other sentient beings, said the Dalai Lama, flanked on the stage by longtime supporters, including Western diplomats, Indian federal ministers, and Hollywood actor Richard Gere. Yep. And a monk who's expected to lead the search for his successor. Fleeing his native Tibet in 1959 in the wake of a failed uprising against Chinese rule, the 14th Dalai Lama, along with hundreds of thousands of Tibetans, took shelter in India and has since advocated for a peaceful middle way. Nobel Prize winner Dalai Lama is regarded as one of the world's most influential religious leaders with a following that extends well beyond Buddhism. In a sign of solidarity, Taiwan's President William Lee Chang-te, leaders of India's state supporting Tibet, and 3 former United States presidents, Barack Obama, George Bush, and Bill Clinton, sent video messages which were played during the event. Well, a ship has come under attack by presumably Houthi rebels. Ship comes under gunfire and grenade attack in the Red Sea off the coast of Yemen. It wasn't immediately clear who was responsible for the assault, but Iran-backed Houthi rebels control much of Yemen and have repeatedly targeted commercial ships in and around the Red Sea. Vessel engaged by multiple small vessels who have opened fire with small arms and self-propelled grenades. UK organization said armed security team have returned fire and the situation is ongoing. Wow, this is hours ago. Don't know the current fate of that ship. The Ayatollah Ali Kamani has made a public appearance coming out of his rat hole. The long absence of Iran's supreme leader Ayatollah Ali Kamani from public life had fueled speculation about his health and threats to his life. Iran's supreme leader, the Ayatollah Ali Kamani, appeared publicly on Saturday night for the first time since the 12-day war with Israel. He issued a defiant video message last week, but now he's made public. So the Ayatollah's out there. The attendees appeared surprised when Khamenei walked in wearing a black clerical robe and his checkered kaifa. The crowd of hundreds of men and women rose to their feet, thumping their fists in the air and chanting, Haydar, Haydar. A battle cry. Wow, a battle cry for a religious leader. That tells you all you need to know about the Ayatollah. Ladies and gentlemen, turning our attention here to the United States, the youngest of these children were sleeping just feet from the river before the floods. The numbers are being revised now. 5 dead, 12 missing. The youngest girls at Camp Mystic in Texas were asleep in cabins as little as 225 feet from the river when flash flooding suddenly surged, causing the water to rise 20 feet above flood stage in just 90 minutes. At least 5 girls from the camp have been confirmed dead, all ages 8 and 9. 12 others are still missing. Also confirmed dead is the longtime owner of the Christian Getaway, which is a storied history in Texas and counts ex-First Lady Laura Bush as a former counselor. Cabins at the site housing the youngest campers are situated on low-lying flats less than 1 football field from the banks of the Guadalupe River, according to the New York Times satellite analysis of the camp. This is the wreckage seen from a helicopter. Most of the missing girls are from those cabins. Older girls were in cabins on higher ground, some 600 feet away from the water. The flood gauge at Hunt, Texas, about 5 miles upstream, shows the water level was 20 feet from normal to major flooding between 4 a.m. and 5:30 a.m. The floods, caused by a month's worth of rain dropping in a matter of minutes, would have happened even earlier at Mystic Camp. Survivor Eleanor Lester, 13, was among the older girls housed on the higher ground. The camp was completely destroyed. It was really scary, she told the newspaper. Camp Mystic, a century-old Christian summer camp, has 2 sites, one on the Guadalupe River and one on Cypress Creek to the south. The 5 girls killed in the flooding have been named as Lila Bonner, Janie Hunt, Sarah Marsh, Eloise Peck, and Renee Schmastra. About 750 girls were attending the camp this week when record flooding swept through the campsite. There's Eloise Peck and Lila Bonner, 2 girls who are dead. Janie Hunt also passed away, as did Renee Samistra. Sarah Marsh. What a tragedy. 43 people reported dead so far in Kirk County, including 15 children. Overall, the death toll is 59. The Camp Mystic director died, considered a hero. The director of Camp Mystic was killed while trying to save girls from horrific flooding. Richard Dick Eastland, 70 years old, died while trying to rescue campers from the biblical rushing waters that struck the state on the 4th of July. At least 11 girls and 1 counselor are missing from the camp. Death toll risen to 59, including 21 children from the Guadalupe River flooded. Eastland's nephew, Gardner Eastland, confirmed the death in a Facebook post. Father of 4 died in a helicopter on the way to a Houston hospital. So they found him, and he was still alive, but he died en route. Eastlands have owned and operated Camp Mystic since 1974. It doesn't surprise me at all that his last act of kindness and sacrifice was working to save the lives of campers. Here he is, better times. He's the 3rd generation of the family to run the all-girls summer camp since 1926. Horrific devastation. Windows in the cabin were shattered and the interiors were completely covered in mud. At least 5 campers killed when the unprecedented current slammed the camp. The families of 11 other campers desperately searching for their daughters as the death toll continues to rise. A National Weather Service escalated alert for flash flood warning at 1 a.m., then a more serious one at 4:30, but by this stage, water was already pouring into families' homes. Tropical storm Chantel brings heavy rain as it makes landfall in South Carolina. Tropical storm Chantel made landfall near Litchfield Beach, South Carolina early this morning and is forecast to bring heavy rains as it moves inland across northeastern South Carolina. It's roughly 70 miles east of Charleston. At an 8 a.m. update, the National Hurricane Center said a tropical storm warning remains in effect for areas of South Santee River, South Carolina to Surf City, North Carolina. Maximum sustained winds have decreased to about 40 miles per hour, which is a bit more manageable. Hopefully that storm will not regain its strength. National Weather Service being accused of failing and under fire for failing to warn of the floods, when in fact they did warn. Agencies under fire over a delayed warning ahead of floods that have killed at least 50 people in Texas. Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem was brutally grilled over delayed warnings after Texas residents received the monster flash flooding was about to devastate the state. Residents were not warned until 1:18 p.m. on July 3rd, the day they began, and were told it was moderate storms. Well, that's a full 12 hours before the flooding. Many Texans blame the slow updates as part of the reason to have 50. Excuse me? As part of the reason. Oh, okay. Finger pointing has landed the National Weather Service had recently begun the process of hiring 100 new employees. So you're going to blame Trump for this. Going to blame Trump for it. Going to blame Trump for it. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent says the tariff derangement syndrome is driving criticism of the trade plan. Indeed, it is. Treasury Secretary Bessent said tariff derangement syndrome has infected the discussion of President Trump's trade plan. The temporary pause on the tariff plan is set to expire Wednesday, and he said that 12 of the nation's top trading partners received letters on Monday outlining the tariff rate the U.S. will impose on their imports. So that won't include South Africa then, because they're not a top trading partner. I think TDS, Trump derangement syndrome, has turned into tariff derangement syndrome. As soon as you call them Trump tariffs, 90% of Democrats hate them. Mr. Bessent disagreed with JP Morgan's analysis showing that U.S. employers would face a direct cost of $82 billion from tariff hikes. A recent Fox poll found that 57% of registered voters said the Trump tariffs would hurt the U.S. economy. 28% said it would help. Well, we'll see what happens. Elon Musk launches the America Party, vows to challenge two-party dominance. The tech billionaire says the time is right to seek independence from what he calls a uniparty in American politics. Well, the interloper, another foreigner who comes to America, interfering in our nation. Musk opposition to the bill stems largely from his deficit spending. Yeah, well, he didn't complain when Obama spent record deficits as a percentage of the government's expenditures. Didn't complain when Biden did the same thing. Now he complains when Trump comes up with a potentially largest economy-growing tax cut measure in history. But now he's going to complain. Thank you, Elon. Appreciate it. Mark Green, a Republican from Tennessee, has resigned from Congress. Former officer in the U.S. Army and member of the Tennessee legislature and member of Congress now has resigned, waiting until after the big, beautiful bill is signed, leaving the Republican majority very narrow indeed. Mark Green resigns from Congress to take a mystery job, narrowing Republicans' threadbare majority. Tennessee Republican Mark Green announced he's resigned from Congress to take a mysterious new job, narrowing Republicans' already ultra-slim majority by one seat ahead of messy fights such as looming government shutdown in the fall. The retired U.S. Army officer had revealed his intention to step down last month after passage of the One Big Beautiful Bill Act, but he refrained from giving the exact date. On Friday, he tendered his resignation, which is effective July 20th. So with a heavy heart did I say farewell to my constituents across the 7th District. Thank you. The trust you put in me is humbling. I will look back fondly on my years of serving as a voice in Washington. I cannot give you details here as I'm doing something specifically designed to help America compete against the Chinese Communist Party. But this time in business. I'm sorry, Representative Green. I'm sorry. You made a commitment to the voters. You agreed to run for office and serve 2 years. You haven't even served a year. Why didn't you step aside and let someone else run for that seat? I'm sorry. So you got a job offer, you got a wonderful job offer, and you're going to leave office now to take that job offer? He goes through a great length in his 5-minute, 52-second Twitter posting to talk about service to the nation, how he's devoted his entire adult life to the nation. But when it came to brass tacks and when it mattered, you're going to resign rather than fulfill your 2-year commitment to the United States government to take a job in the private sector that's going to pay you a lot of money. I'm sorry. Yeah, you're going to have to give me a few more details than that before I believe what you have to say, Representative Mark Green. It's not like the Republicans have 260 seats. They have 217 seats, 218, 220, something like that. And you're going to resign to take a job? I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm not buying that. Well, Trump's big, beautiful bill boots millionaires off unemployment. What? Say what? What you talking about, Willis? Millionaires get unemployment? Yes, indeed. The days of mega millionaires claiming federally funded unemployment benefits are about to end. 15 years after Tom Coburn first launched his crusade to clamp down on what he called anti-benefit for millionaires, Congress finally delivered in President Trump's big, beautiful budget bill. In the early morning hours of July 1st, the senators were debating and voting on dozens of amendments. Senator Joni Ernst of Iowa managed to get her colleagues to accept an amendment that forbids people who show at least $1 million of income in any 1 year from collecting unemployment insurance benefits. For far too long, overtaxed and overworked small business owners have been forced to foot the bill for the lifestyles of the idle rich, but no longer. The freebies for freeloading fat cats are over. As unlikely as it sounds, tax records show that every year several thousand tax returns report to the IRS that they had more than $1 million in income and also collected some unemployment. That number shot up during the pandemic with roughly 19,000 tax filers with $1 million incomes claiming unemployment benefits, 19,000 of them. Wow. Among them were 900 who had more than $5 million in income. In 2021, nearly 15,000 million-dollar filers claimed the benefit, even as the pandemic waned. In 2022, $5,800 million filers claimed the benefit. In 2021, 22 millionaires collected $270 million in government assistance. It's a fraction of the money spent, but it's the principle. So rich people getting benefits they shouldn't be getting. Wow. Wow. Well, ladies and gentlemen, in the campaign to unseat President Trump in the events of 2020, the Demon Rats stood up on stage and 9 of these evil bastards raised their hands saying that we should make it not make it illegal for criminals to invade America. Well, that is haunting them to this day, as it should. Can Democrats find their way on immigration? The party's leftward shift in the Biden administration arguably laid the groundwork for President Trump's aggressive approach, deciding the next move won't be easy. The Democrats on stage saw themselves as morally courageous. American voters, it turned out, saw a group of politicians hopelessly out of touch. Standing side by side at a primary debate in June of 2019, 9 of the party's candidates for president were asked to raise their hand if they wanted to decriminalize illegal border crossings. Only one of them refused. 6 years later, the party remains haunted by that tableau. It stands both as a vivid demonstration of a leftward shift policy on immigration that many prominent Democratic lawmakers and strategists now say they deeply regret. When you have the most Latino district in the country outside Puerto Rico vote for Trump, that should be a wake-up call for the Democratic Party, said Vicente Gonzalez of Texas, who saw Trump win every county in his district along the border with Mexico. This is a Democratic district that's been blue for over a century, but Trump won every single county. Why? Because Latinos don't want illegals here. Yep. 55% of Americans told Gallup they supported a decrease in immigration, nearly twice as many as in 2020, and the first time since 2005 the majority had said so. The embrace of a more punitive approach to illegal immigration includes not only white voters, but also working-class Latinos who support the Democrats rely on. And they're out of touch. They're out of touch, and no hope for them. Rescuers continue to search for the missing girls in Texas. Authorities said they're not exactly sure how many people are believed to be missing beyond the 27 girls from Camp Mystic. Wow. 2 days after catastrophic flash floods in Central Texas washed away many homes and vehicles and left 51 people dead, it's 59 now, rescuers were searching through a devastating landscape of overturned cars, mud-filled debris to search for potential survivors, including the girls. Airline group commends President Trump's mega bill for funding aviation infrastructure modernization. The law allocates funds for upgrading telecommunications infrastructure and replacing radar systems. Airlines for America, a trade association of leading U.S. airlines, commended President Trump for signing into law one big beautiful bill that contains a $12.5 billion provision to modernize the country's air traffic control system. Wow. The biggest share of the funds, $4.75 billion, goes to modernizing telecommunications infrastructure and upgrading relevant systems. $3 billion for radar systems replacement, $1.9 billion for constructing new air traffic control center, and $1 billion for terminal radar approach control facilities. $500 million for runway safety technologies. About time. Promises made, promises kept. Kanye West takes photos of his wife, Bianca Censori. More bizarre, half-naked photos of Bianca Censori. Yep. Ever since they secretly tied the knot in 2022, Bianca has been consistently shocking fans with the barely there ensembles her husband styles for her. Yep. Censori defiantly posed in photos on Instagram on Saturday, 3 days after it emerged that Kanye West's visit to her native Australia has been canceled. Yes. Australia has banned Kanye West. Home Affairs Minister Tony Burke has revealed that West is being denied entry to the country over his anti-Semitic song praising Adolf Hitler. The track, titled Heil Hitler, was dropped by the singer on May 8th and is deemed to be promoting Nazism. As a result, officials revised West's lower-level visa and came to the decision that it would be revoked. He's been coming to Australia for a long time. He's got a family here, and he's made a lot of offensive comments that my officials looked at again, Burke told ABC. Once he released the Heil Hitler song, he no longer has a valid visa in Australia. It wasn't a visa for the purpose of concerts. It was lower level, and the officials still looked at the law and said, you're going to have a song and promote that's for Nazism. We don't need that in Australia. Yes, but Australia promotes anti-white nonsense. And there she is. The rapper who took to X to share his clip, which showed a group of shirtless black males draped in animal skins professing their love for Hitler. Wow. Kanye West. Out there, man. Out there. Has there ever been a better time to buy an electric vehicle? No. But the freebies are disappearing. Federal tax credits for electric vehicles about to end. Car makers try rock bottom pricing to spur sales. Not even bargain basement deals are enough to entice U.S. drivers to go all in on electric vehicles. A Hyundai dealership in New Jersey is hyping a $169 a month lease on its Ioniq 6 sedan, which carries a sticker price of $38,000, making it far less expensive than comparatively priced lease on a gasoline-burning model. $169 a month, that's dirt cheap. That's half what I pay for my internet. Kia will release a small Niro EV SUV for as little as $129 a month. Wow, we'll lease it. GMC dealership in Indiana touts the Hummer EV with a $100,000 sticker price for $650 a month. Wow. Well, that's because the $7,500 tax credit is disappearing by 30 September. They can't get rid of these crappy electric vehicles fast enough. Because they don't last, they don't go very far, they cost too much, and they're a mess. Well, the Gulf Coast Stapletons, it's an influencer family with a half-naked lady, and her husband turns out to be a pedo. Yes. Gulf Coast Stapletons influencer wife defends husband as he's sentenced to 5 years in prison for child porn. An influencer known for documenting her dreamy Gulf Coast travels with her husband is standing by his side as he was sentenced to prison for child porn. Joshua Stapleton, 39, his wife Brittany, 31, are the faces behind the Gulf Coast Stapletons, a social media account that captured snapshots of their seemingly perfect picture postcard lifestyle along the Gulf Coast. But their dreamy world came to a screeching halt when investigators discovered that over the course of 2 years, Joshua had to download images of prepubescent children portrayed in sexually charged situations. More than 4 years after authorities launched their investigation, the Georgia native was sentenced last month to 5 years behind bars, following by 15 years on probation. On Friday, she took to TikTok after a lengthy video defending her husband, going as far as threatening legal action against anyone spreading what she called false statements. Josh was absolutely upfront with me about everything in the charges. There were no secrets. So she endorses his kiddie porn. Brittany also posts a photo on Instagram of herself lying on her husband's lap aboard a boat, captioned, "If this is the statement you're looking for, here it is." Her husband's arrest followed an investigation launched by the Cartersville Police Department with support from the Georgia Bureau of Investigation, U.S. Department of Homeland Security. And here they are. Brittany Stapleton, 31, defended her husband Joshua, 39, as he was sentenced to 5 years. All right, if you're married to that, why are you looking at kiddie porn? It was during this time that Josh was discovered to download images of children from 2018 to 2020. Just a mild-mannered guy, nothing that would have given you the slightest indication there was some type of criminal activity going on. Recalling the night in 2020 when multiple agencies swarmed his home, he remembered thinking, what in the world was going on? I learned about the child exploitation charges later and just threw me for a loop. Originally charged with 15 counts of child porn, he was later indicted on a staggering 40 counts of exploitation of children. Ultimately accepted a non-negotiable plea deal, pleading guilty to 20 counts while the remaining charges were dropped. They've amassed more than 1 million likes across TikTok and Instagram, often do duo workouts, meals, and vacations with their more than 81,000 followers. Just last week, the pair shared several videos from the trip to Orange Beach, Alabama. But Brittini's next public words came in an 8-minute video posted to the popular platform. One of many have since been labeled extremely concerning. In the video, she sought to correct what she called misinformation circulating online after news of her husband's incarceration. What you're not allowed to do is post anything that is a false statement that is damaging someone's reputation. I've seen a lot of it, so I'm going to set the record straight. But if I continue to see it, naturally I'm going to have to take legal action because it's absolutely illegal. She went on to address her most frequently asked question, whether she knew about the crimes, to which she replied, absolutely, I knew. Well, she knew, and she didn't report it. Well, there's a corgi. They have a corgi. She explained that they were friends before dating, and when the charges surfaced, she reached out to him because it didn't sound like him, especially since they had already taken multiple vacations and spent a lot of time together. I've had a really good judge of character. I knew something was up. I knew that it was not Josh. She also pushed back against accusations that we're protecting fake lives on the social media account. There's nothing fake about it. It was our lives. We're still happy, and I have no issues. He's currently being held in the Barlow County Sheriff's Jail. Authorities have yet to release additional information. I'm a little confused. What are people lying about if he's been convicted and is going to jail for 5 years? I'm sorry there, Miss Briani. What are people lying about? If he's been convicted, he's going to jail. What conviction? It sounds to me like somebody's just fronting for a caught criminal. Oh, there's a bigger crime, Mark, just like the rapper Limpopo did, sexually assaulting. The image is bad. To hear. I saw a comment here. How would color be able to articulate a fear of persecution? Oh, my goodness. All right, LBR. I'm going to explain this for the 10,000th time. First off, y'all need to educate yourselves. Stop being sheep for the ANC. The fact that Indians, Chinese, and colors are included in BEE as being black does not mean they benefit from it. Does not mean that they get advantage from it. I can show you countless colored South Africans and Indians who've been cheated, who've been denied because of BEE. They don't get it. Just because they're included in it doesn't mean they benefit from it. You got to stop the nonsense. You think only white people are oppressed in South Africa? You're wrong. You're wrong. You're wrong. I'm so sick of pointing this out to people. It's blatantly obvious. Coloreds are denied bursaries. Coloreds are denied BE tenders. Coloreds are denied job opportunities. Indians, the same thing. Stop it. Stop it. They don't have to prove anything. A legitimate fear. That's right. Only ANC caters. Hey, Freaky Mayor. Yeah, Brittany's the right name for her, Russell. I agree with you. I agree with you. Okay, America First, you're going to get blocked here. Please do not use all caps. That's reserved for one of my moderators, okay? I don't think anybody saw that, so please do not use all caps. Okay, what is the question here that Grade asked? You guys are asking questions when I'm doing the news. I've cautioned you not to do that, so I won't see your question. Kanye's a Kardashian wannabe, yep. Okay, America First, you're using all caps. That's the second time I've seen it here. If the mods are taking those out, your message is going to be deleted. Stop being attention-seeking. Yeah, replace for an EV battery can run $10,000 or $12,000. Yep. The hybrids are better because then you've got gasoline engine there. Oh, there it is. Do you think the news conference by police commissioner can precipitate a crackdown on law-abiding citizens? No, I don't think so, Alexander. I think what it precipitates is more distraction within the SAPs and less law enforcement and more space for criminals to do what they want to do while they're distracted with the arguments between them. No, I don't think it's going to be used against citizens. Not that. There are other things we'll use against citizens. Thank you. I found your message, Alexander. Great. Batteries are too expensive. Exactly. What K word? I didn't use a K word. Oh, Kanye. That's the K word. Shame somebody needs to back a buddy for her clothes. Exactly. Patches. She can't afford clothes. I want a Corvette. Another wants a Mustang. Obviously, old bangers. I'll get a small car. I don't want either of those, Benj. None of those interest me. Marry and divorce on a yearly basis. Crazy. Yeah, there you go. That's one way to keep busy. My family and myself send our condolences to the families that have lost their loved ones in the flood and prayers. Yeah, thank you for that, Matthew Schaefer. Pretty scary stuff. pretty scary stuff. By the way, folks, if you want to talk about refugee stuff, we have a refugee broadcast coming up in less than an hour. You're welcome to join me for that broadcast. All right? You're welcome to join me for that. Okay. Excuse me. Tired. Sad, so many girls and people missing. That is really sad. Sounds like they'll get, what's this, rich, but I don't know what Alan's saying there. Sorry. David Henry, welcome to you. Thank you for those who did. Sure, we can do better on the likes. Thank you, Rudolph. Yeah, we're up to 724 likes. Thank you for that, guys. Our unemployment is way higher. Oh, yeah. Unemployment's probably closer to 50 or 60% in South Africa. It's encouraging that leader of the free world wants to win the Nobel Peace Prize. Trump wants to win the Peace Prize. Never. I don't recall him mentioning that. He deserves it, but I don't recall him mentioning it. Yeah, Sedgefield, Elon's his lucky draw had people running around like crazy. Well, the chance Elon and Trump are actually working together, and it's all to reduce the Dems' vote size. I don't know, Terry. It's very damaging. I don't think that's the case. Flash flood warnings have been debunked already. There are a total of 9 warnings issued well in advance and happened during the middle of the night while people were sleeping. Thank you, Janine Scenes. Thank you. They're trying to blame Trump, and the warnings were issued. The problem is that we don't have a system in remote areas like that for, like we have in, we still have the air raid warning system in some places where, if there's incoming ICBMs, woo, that goes off. But we don't have that for, weather systems. We have tornado sirens in the Midwest, so I don't think they have anything there in that part of Texas. Check on X, Cyril Rome post account. He said about the UN. Okay, let me go to X. Thank you for that. Let me turn the alerts back on because they're off for the moment. Alert box is back on. Okay, so, it's the first thing that comes up. As conflict persists, new threats emerge and old issues falter. The pursuit of gold, peace, and security has never been more urgent, more complex on nations, particularly the Security Council is the preeminent instrument, yet it's failed to meet the challenge today. In responding to these challenges ranging from humanitarian issues, the Security Council has become too rigid, too narrow, and too disconnected from today's multipolar. Reform is necessary. The Security Council must be made more democratic, more regionally representative, more accountable. Well, now.
Thank you, Your Excellency, President Lula da Silva, President of the Republic of Brazil, Your Royal Highness.
Oh, dear guys. All protocol observed. Let's get to the point there, Cyril.
Mr. Chaveli.
He's still, 1 minute in, he's still greeting people.
With this change comes both uncertainty.
This guy is so clueless. He's so clueless. So dementedly clueless. He's leading South Africa right into oblivion, and he thinks that criticizing the Security Council is the path forward. No. You don't like this UN, then leave the UN, South Africa. Leave it. Unbelievable. Seriously, Chief, there are big issues back home. Yep. Any news on Senzo Mkuno? Yeah, no. Ramaphosa is getting grilled for that posting on X. People are just going after him left and right. Thank you, Janine. They were flash flood warnings issued. They're just trying to lie about it again. Even in the article I read, they mentioned 2 flash flood warnings, but they tried to make it sound like nothing was done. They built shacks and graveyards with no respect. Saw videos about instances where this happened. I have too, Rex. Yep, no respect for human life or human dignity. Always to blame. You're right, Sandra. My heart goes out to all the families that lost their little children. Yeah, it's terrible, Lizette. Why blame POTUS? Because that's their demonic. That's their MO. That's all they know is to blame Trump for everything. Yep. Well, we could use more likes. We're up to 764 now. 50-year floodline. Everyone ignores it. People building 1-year floodline. Yep. Cape Town, Durban. Yeah, no. Well, the whole Cape Flats should just be abandoned. None of those people should be there. Move them all east of Worcester. Move them all east of Worcester. All those people need to move east of Worcester. There's no basis for people in there. You're in a flood zone. You're in a wetlands. You shouldn't be there. Heart goes out to everyone affected by the flood. South Africa, we have a law that prohibits the building of housing. Yeah, that's true, Rudolph, but it's ignored all the time. Son's already in USA. Some family too busy winding up my stuff, says Benj. Okay, Benj. All right. Good luck with that. Johan Morrison, prayers for Texas tragedy. Yep, tragic indeed. You guys, I'm back to the Texas stuff now. You guys all very sad. It was very sad. Yep, you guys have a lot of love and concern for the people who've lost there. We know the shortcut key for a darker screen. I'm using a remote keyboard. I don't know that. John Fiva says, thank the Lord for your program, Chris. Well, thank you, John. Thank you. Please watch my videos. They're actively hidden by YouTube. Lindy is freezing. Is it that cold? Ron Poe is not as honest and sincere as he pretends to be. He does everything he can to convince anyone his false pretenses. 100% agree with you there. At this point, I don't believe ANC is clueless. They're a malignant force. G. Sawyer, I think you're maybe right about that. Abel Bota says, what do you make of the latest corruption allegations coming to front today against police minister? Well, very serious indeed. You know, he's actually appeared to have done a decent job. But when the bar is set by Becca Chile, a pretty low bar, it doesn't take much to get above that bar. So, you know, he's looked pretty good just by comparison, but this sounds bad. Sounds very bad. Exceptionally difficult to listen to Cheryl knowing how he hates and sells impossible wins. We only win with racism, increased poverty, taxes, unemployment. Solar City used to be owned by Elon's cousin, Lyndon. Really, Renee? I didn't know that. There's Petra! Okay, Petra, wherever. They need to go somewhere. They need to go somewhere. But the Cape Flats should be empty, devoid of people. It's a floodplain. What blows my mind, hey Petra, glad to see you here. What blows my mind is how the heck can people be against what Trump is doing, not just for us, but the world? Can't we send it? Because they're evil people, Loretta. They're evil people. They're people who have privilege and wealth and live in circles where they don't experience any misery and they don't care about other people. They believe their nonsense, and their nonsense just doesn't work. How can Narendra Modi be so buddy-buddy with Cyril, who opposes South African Indians? Because Modi is a pragmatist. He's a pragmatist. And he knows that no matter what he says and does with Cyril Ramaphosa, Indians in South Africa love him. Look, folks, when Modi came to Sandton City, I was there. I was at the BRICS Summit. Remember, I was an accredited journalist with South Africa. I am. And I was at the BRICS Summit in 2023 when Modi came to the Sun. He walked in the Sun as Mark Oppenheimer and I were trying to get out of the building, and just the throngs of people came. They just came. We couldn't get out of the building because he was coming in. The security kept us there. We watched him enter the building, and hundreds of people, just Indians from South Africa, just gathered around him and loved him. Why? Because he's Indian, not because he's ever done anything. It's like what, black like me, spies like us. You know, it's people just gravitate to people who are like them. Yeah. So Modi knows he doesn't have to do anything. He's going to be popular with South African Indians. Population growth rate is 2%. Economy is less than 1%. Inflation is higher than 2% as well. Your economy is going backwards. My son showed me a message from AfriForum discussing cameras to keep the farm safe. They live on a family farm in Cape Town, northern side. Okay. Thank you, Amanda. The news is tightening. MTN, the court case in Turkey. Yeah, that's true, Shannon. I love the Bushveld more than the sea, says Kai. They can appreciate how privileged they are to live in the land of the free. They have let them leave. Exactly. 761 likes, 931 people watching in the stream. I know you didn't press the like Bram OG. Hey, Bram. How's it going? Bram Janssen von Rensburg, I believe it is. Mark Myberg. Chris Wyatt, that is why Petra is confined to quarters. Okay. All right, Mark. Got it. Loud, mischievous Texan nephews. Okay, says Kai. All right. Anyway, guys, we will have the refugee program coming up in 45 minutes for those who want to chat. Listen, today I'm going to try to refrain from, I've been asked that question a million times. I will just try to answer questions as best I can, unless it's just stupid questions, because you know trolls come in and ask stupid questions. They intentionally do it. Other people innocently ask what some people consider to be stupid questions just because they've heard it a million times. But let's just go ahead and treat it as if some people are coming for the first time, folks. And so we're just going to treat it like that, okay? So the Refugee Coffee Clutch, it's also for refugees who want to pop in there. If you want to pop in there with a pseudonym and chat and say you're a refugee, as long as you're honest, you're welcome to do that. Refugees seem to have lost interest in doing interviews or coming on, so I don't know where we're at with that, but we'll see. Hard copy books in various floodlines, 40 years, 100 years captured, but people move in and build shacks and cry when they're victims of floods. Yeah. Well, the same thing in Florida, folks. These people build these big McMansions in the path of hurricanes in Hurricane Alley, and they lose their $2 million house, and then they cry to the insurance company, and then we pay for it. I say we because I insure with USAA. which is for military and their descendants. And USAA, or the family members, not descendants, USAA insures a bunch of those expensive homes on the Gulf Coast and on the Atlantic coast in Hurricane Alley. And so when they have to settle their losses, it means less money in the pot to return to shareholders, and we're shareholders. So we get screwed because people build their McMansions in dangerous places. Raise their rates to a rate they won't pay anymore, so they won't build there anymore. Quit building in the face of Mother Nature. Stop being arrogant. Media Center, you were late. I covered that story some time ago. Yes, he started his America Party. We'll see what happens. The 4 requirements of the U.S. are very reasonable and would very easily implement in a short time. I can't understand why they wouldn't just comply with them. Because they'll destroy their influence. They'll completely be gone. Why would they comply with that? Plus, they have to show they back down. You always blame Trump, and you always blame apartheid. Yep, they're cut from the same cloth. Chris, when I go into a hospital for my lupus, I'm going to promote you on your channel. Gosh, Amanda, I didn't realize you were going to hospital for lupus. Oh, thoughts and prayers to Amanda. Gosh, thank you for promoting the channel. Everything ready and in place, Colonel. Just waiting for any news in Cape Town interview is opening. Pierre Rousseau, I've no news on that. I've heard nothing about it. Yep. Exactly. Building mansions in Florida. Blame Vanilla Ice, baby. Lana, I'm buffering. That's your ISP because everyone else is okay. Why are so many houses that's not built with bricks? Every time I see houses being built. Yeah, well, you're right about that, Janine. Because it's quick and easy and it's a material that's easy at hand. It cuts the cost. But you're wrong about houses not being built brick. Lots of places are built with brick in this country. Lots of houses are built with brick. In fact, it's time dependent. Timothy Stockall, thank you for your subscription. It's time dependent. So if you go back to the 1950s and beforehand, almost every house, not every house, but a fair portion of houses, particularly in the Northeast United States, were built with stone or built with brick. From then on, the major building boom took off, and there's simply the cost of having brick and stone was too prohibitive. So they went towards things that were readily available, timber and drywall, much easier to manufacture and less costly. And that became the norm. Yeah, I don't like it either. I prefer a brick home. Yeah, I prefer stone. Mine isn't brick, but I mean, this is what is available. I don't have $1 million to buy one of those nice brick houses. They're too expensive. We can screen the international rugby games. Well, Chris will switch off overseas comedy. Maze, I don't know. It depends where you're at. You're asking the question. If you're in South Africa, next week's game for Italy will be on SABC, so you can watch it on SABC. That's the only one. Nobody can blame President Trump or anyone else about the floods. It's unfortunate. Well, they are, Matthew. They're blaming him. They're claiming that the National Weather Service didn't have enough people to give warnings, but there, in fact, were multiple warnings given. Yep. Some folks treat floodplains as beachfront property. Well, they wind up on the beach and being washed away with it. I like log cabins too, Gray. We've got some nice ones, and if I move to Wyoming, I'll probably get myself a log cabin. Yep. But part of it will be made out of stone. Yep, Lindy, a bit of everything in the U.S. But what you see is the big developments, and it shows them all being built out of, 2x4s and 4x4s. No, Tom, brick is not usually veneer. That's on wood homes you're talking about. But we have lots of, look, you want me to go around and start taking pictures or do a video of all the brick homes in a local neighborhood here? I can show you. It's time dependent. I can show you the houses built in the 60s, 50s, and 60s, and beforehand, almost all of them that were built in that time frame are brick. The ones before that were built out of wood when people were less prosperous and wood was cheaper. Then they became more prosperous and they built brick, but then brick became too expensive because of massive housing boom after post-World War II. And so, yeah, it's just a question. But you're right. I have fake brick on the front of my house. It looks like brick. It looks like stone. It's not. It's just a facing. I want to move to Montana. It's my dream. I can see you get mountain property with your own river, 20 acres for 4 million rand. You could do it for 4 million rand. That's true. Very honest, proud ex-task force member. They'll struggle to get him under. Well, they'll try. Makanazi. He's got Nazi right in his name, though, man. Right at the end of it. Log cabins are beautiful. Older homes are brick. Like our Wendy home. What's a Wendy home? If you want to see homes built out of lumber, look in Canada. Much cheaper builds there. Well, you can have Canada. No, thank you. You can have Canada. Yeah, the 3 little pigs tour. I'll huff and puff and blow your house down. Montana is quite lovely, folks. Be sure to hit the like button there, ladies and gentlemen. You haven't done that yet. 826 likes now. And it's definitely been salty cracks here. The first week of July, the super chats have really dried up. But I haven't even mentioned super chats for a while, unless you've asked me about them. What am I looking for here? I'm just trying to find something very quickly over here. By the way, I didn't do a show last night and nobody said anything. Why is Morne Bota commenting on the refugee program? Morne Bota is an immigrant to America. He's an American citizen, but he's commenting on the refugee program in Afrikaans. Not really sure what that's about. He's welcome. It's a free speech country, but I'm just curious why. Take methotrexate, which is a form of chemo. Ooh, Amanda. Don't want to move to Canada. Just saying they build cheaper houses. Oh, okay, Lindy, gotcha. But you can have Canada. No thanks. We suspect neither rest, Colonel. Yeah, you're right, Side Offer Connor. So here's the situation. Marley Quinn, thank you for 14 rand. Super sticker saying you rock. Thank you so much. So yesterday, late in the afternoon after my broadcast, I received a text message asking for a veteran to help with a church service today. Now, we have no meetings at the Veterans Organization. We don't call people up to the Veterans Organization and harass them on weekends, particularly a holiday weekend. It's a holiday weekend. A lot of people are gone. I was at the park yesterday when I recorded all those shorts. There was nobody there. There were 3 people in the park. A park that would normally on a Saturday have hundreds of people. They're all gone. They're all on the beach somewhere. Twinkle Stardust, thank you for the 140 rand. Thank you so much for that. You're a gem. Thank you for being yourself. Thank you. You're very kind. So I had lots of peace and solitude to film those shorts yesterday. But after that, I came back. I had a message asking for a veteran volunteer. I got no response from the few people I was able to ask about it. And so I considered doing it myself. But last night, I laid down about 8 o'clock. I was tired. I didn't feel like getting up and do the night show for once. I said, let me get some rest. I got some rest. I slept through in the morning. And I got up in time to go to the church, but I had a massive headache from dehydration, I guess it is. And I just didn't feel well. So I could have gone and helped these people to church. And all they want is some veteran to hold a flag at their church service. I mean, but it's a bit late to ask for that. I mean, you could have asked for that last week. You could ask for it on Wednesday. You could ask for it on Monday. You could ask for it on Thursday or Friday. But we find out on Saturday afternoon that you want somebody for your church service on Sunday. It's not like people are just sitting around to help. And so I was going to go wearing my uniform, but I didn't feel well, so I didn't go. Sometimes you just can't do everything. So we'll probably hear some nonsense from someone belly aching. Well, veterans didn't help us out. Well, you asked last minute. You know, you can't expect people to just bend over backwards. I mean, I can't draw people back from the beach. They're 3 hours away to do it. Morne Bota won the green card. Diversity louder, and the info he has given is not wrong. He made one wrong statement about refugees not being able to own firearms. I didn't say anything about him being wrong. I asked why he's talking about refugees, Napoleon. Don't start something. Don't start something. I didn't say, what I said clearly is I don't understand why he is talking about the refugee program. He is an immigrant to America. He's not a refugee. He's an immigrant. He's welcome to talk about it, I also said. So let's not start something and start some nonsense here, okay? All right? But he's not alone in saying that refugees can't own firearms. He wasn't the only one. One of my moderators said that too. Sorry, Rakes. Sorry, I didn't have it scheduled. I didn't do it last night. So also, I told you guys I wasn't going to do them on the weekend, but I took one weekend off and then I did them again. So there's a super chat. Thank you for that. A little something for Salty Cracks. Thank you for that, Etienne. Thank you for that. And the JP Nodir, good evening. I've sent you a mess on WhatsApp. You may address later if possible. Okay, JP. I haven't looked at my WhatsApp this morning yet. I haven't looked at it. Wouldn't move to Florida if you paid me. Exactly. No, thank you. No, thank you for Florida. Don't argue with idiots. Hollywood is to blame as well. Hey, Smee again. Yeah, Canada is a beautiful country. It really is. So, anyway, so Napoleon Dynamite, let's not start something with that guy. I'm not trying to start anything. I'm saying he's not a refugee. And his video is titled Refugees. So I was curious about that. Doesn't mean he can't comment. He has free speech. He's welcome to comment all he wants. I'm just asking what he's commenting about. Wise man who built his house on the rock, the rest built on the floodplain, and now blame the rain. Yep. Canada does have a lot of black flies. Ugh. Did you enjoy the show yesterday? Which show is that, Madeline? Nicola missed me. Sorry, Nicola. Well, I'll be up tonight for it. But yeah, I was just wiped out. Totally wiped out, guys. Totally wiped out. Yeah, you must be born on U.S. soil in order to run for president. So Elon Musk can't run for president. Mark Myberg, Patreon forced me. Thank you for the 140 Rand, Mark. Patreon forced me. The channel Morning Bota gave advice saying refugees can only apply for a green card after 1 year. Isn't a refugee has... They have to apply within that first year, yes. Yeah. Well, yeah, the law says one thing and the policy has been different. So he's not wrong. He's not wrong. It's fine. Is it rough going to church with a hangover? Well, I didn't have a hangover, Dogzilla. I just had a headache from dehydration. There's a very difference there. I don't know. I don't go to church with hangovers. Just for my back out carrying in a new kitchen counter. Oh my goodness me again. Sorry to hear that. Oh, there you go. Thank you, 1440. There you go. So that's why he's doing it. He's answering questions about living in the U.S. Well, then why doesn't it say that? Why does it say refugee, which seems like clickbait? Yeah, he's answering questions about living in the USA. Good. It's good to have Afrikaners give their perspective of living in the USA. I've never met a white visa diversity law ruiner from South Africa. That's interesting. I didn't hear about this Arcadia assault. Anyone here living in the U.S., what are your opinions in the state of Georgia? Well, Yassine, I lived in Georgia, and I loved it. But I lived in Georgia 40 years ago. I wouldn't love it today. Big thanks to Colonel and Wyatt Army for backing Jordy, the cat shot in the head. Thanks for your support. Via back buddy's doing well despite losing an eye. Ah, all right. So he's still hanging around. Thank you, Relaxing Positive Energy. Wow, I've forgotten about that effort. Yeah, we had that. We had Mornay Britt's effort. We had Zoe. Yeah. Thought they're following the Australian route with solar panels. Just started mentioning the per panel fee after registration and offering the stupid unit reimbursement fee. Oh my goodness. If you apply for a statement of interest, does it make a big difference if you select no passport? It should not make any difference, Peter Feldman, because you're simply being honest with them. It's incumbent on you to apply for a passport. So a lot of people honestly report they have no passport, and by the time they get called in for an interview, they've already gotten a passport. So that's all. They're just trying to get a feel whether you got one or not. Okay. That's a refugee question, which is the next broadcast. Okay. Mornay served years in SADF Air Force. Awesome guy with a lot of knowledge. Yeah. Again, thanks for sharing. I watched a documentary on the street in Vancouver that is for drug users and dealers. Drug addicts are assisting by the Canadian government to feed their habit. That's a bad thing. It's a bad thing. Switzerland tried the same thing in Zurich. They decided to make the park in the center of town a free zone where no one would be arrested for shooting up. And as a consequence, heroin addicts from all over Europe, from Amsterdam, from Berlin, from Frankfurt, from Paris, all descended into Zurich and turned the park into an unsafe place. Hypodermic needles with HIV laying all over the ground there, feces, people living in the park. They learned their lesson the hard way. You don't encourage drug use by offering free drug use. No, that's stupid. His party could give him permanent influence in the U.S. House and Senate. They will represent their instead of his... well, you may be right about that. Many people who were interested started asking more questions about his life in the USA after he said the refugee program was a good opportunity just to answer questions. Well, there you go. Okay, guys, I got it. Why are we still talking about Mornay Bota? Okay, I got it. I didn't say anything bad about him. I'm not saying anything bad about him. I just asked a simple question. Thank you all for sharing. Okay. The 9 July tariffs hitting South Africa, what does that truly mean? It depends, Cobus. It depends on whether the suppliers are willing to eat the cost, which probably they can't eat a 30% cost. The bottom line is I think that it just means that South Africa's trade with the U.S. is going to dwindle to nothing because I don't think many producers in South Africa can afford to eat that cost. Any idea how long it takes for a response after sending U.S. embassy a letter of interest for refugees? There's no such thing as a letter of interest to me again. You're talking about a statement of interest you fill down a line with a Google form? There is no timeline. It takes as long as it takes. Okay. Oh, you just gave out 10 more. I've got to stop. I can't do all those. Thank you, Mark Myberg, for the 10 memberships you've given to Helen Berg. Barry De Beer, Africa Dawn. Emery says the most HIV cases in Africa due to crime and unsafe. Oh, no. You have the most HIV cases in the world. South Africa is the epicenter of HIV. Over 8 million people with HIV in South Africa. It's more than anywhere else in the world. Even India has fewer cases, 7.5 million. You're welcome, Angelique. Okay. Yeah, well, I don't know him. If somebody want to put him in touch with me, I'd be happy to talk to him about his experiences in America. Absolutely. It'll be interesting to contrast his experience in America, my experience in South Africa since he's here. Yeah, if anybody wants to suggest that to Mornay Bota, I'd be happy to have him on the program. Yep, yeah. We can talk about his experiences. That'd be great if he's interested. If he's interested. I hadn't thought about that, but I think that's a good idea. I think it's a good idea. Cool bean. All right. South Africa is number one in all wrong things except sport. From Van. Van who? Van who, Flying Dutchman? Van who? Van who? Jillian Fraser, hello to you. 1440. Statement of interest. No, okay. To me, again, it's important to have the right terminology, okay? Just like when I was asking about Morne Bota, why is he doing something in the refugees? What's that about? And then I got all defensive. Yep. Yes, you won with the highest HIV. Yep. See, 17 years. Been a long time since he lived in South Africa. Loretta says, your analysis on general safety in South Africa towards the end of the year seems things are going more crazy. Yep. I'm truly light in the dark tunnel. Retha Milan says, yes, Morne Bota. Love your show. Shout if you come to Durban. I've been to Durban, Jillian. I was just down at the casino. Yep. I go to Sharks games, even though I'm not a Sharks fan. Yep. Also go to Wyatt Street by the British Museum, and I go to Amazon Todi sometimes. Yep. Also go. This last time I went to Bolito. Just got here, sounding interesting as usual. Elon Musk starting a political party. Yep. We talked about that. All right. I guess you're not telling me about the van. What van? Oh, Van always gave you a big super. Oh, that Van. I don't know. Van disappeared, Rebecca. That Van. You mean as one of the viewers on here? Yeah, Van gave some big super chats and then disappeared. That happens. I remember on the original channel, we had some guy gave me a $500 super chat once. I was like, wow, that was the entire one or half the income for 1 month one time. $500 super chat. He's involved in the mining industry or something like that. Was in Dubai. And used to give a bunch of super chats. $100 here, $500 there. He did it for 2 or 3 months and he disappeared. Never came back. Yep. And another guy who's in the mining industry is South African. He used to travel all over Africa. He used to give, $100 here, $125, $50 here, and disappeared. Yep. And there's a couple Americans used to give super chats. I think U.S. Border Mice used to give an occasional $50 super chat, but they don't do it anymore. Van is on the Van Toy channel. I know. I met him, but he didn't identify himself. But he's not here anymore. He hasn't been in the chat for ages. I haven't seen him for like 3 weeks. Yeah, that's the Van. No, I've not had him on. He wants his identity kept secret. Anyway, all right, we're going to stop here, and we'll be back at the top of the hour with the refugee Cafe Clutch. So if you got questions about refugees, let's talk about it. Somebody will go get Morning Boat to have him show up. He can come in to chat. And we'll see you guys here in about 30 minutes. I mean, guys, remember, just listen to Baby Wyatt about all this. Baby Wyatt has all the answers. I mean, honestly, seriously, Baby Wyatt. You got to listen to Baby Wyatt because he knows what he's talking about. I mean, it's just insane. Oh, it's been 3 weeks. Okay, get a grip. I mean, honestly, people have no idea what's involved here. A thorough background investigation must be completed. You have to prove who you are, where you're from, what you're saying is true. That has to take place. There's an administrative process that has to take place. Interviews have to be conducted. Medical screening has to be done. All this stuff takes time.